We are live. Welcome to the RG DFS Tournament Takes Podcast, Week 10 edition. My name is Chris Kirkwood. Screen name Kirk D's here with my boys, JSU Rab from Run Pure Sports, John Surabian, and at Bobby Gomes DFS. Bobby Gomes, currently with us over at RotoGrinders. Wow, we're back. We were just talking pre-show about all the tilt from Mixon. You know, we whiffed. We swung and we missed with Mixon last week. I had a horrible week on DraftKings. I had a good week on Yahoo, which made up for it, and then some because I played Devontae Adams. That was the only reason. But did not have Mixon. Mixon just ruined the slate. So let's talk first. Let's see how Bobby Bitcoin is doing over here. What's up, Bobby?
Yeah, it's an interesting day, right? Doing all right, getting through. Yeah, basically last week for me was better than the previous 2 weeks. So I'll call it a win. Ended up getting a seat last night, which was a gift from the gods, I would imagine, based on just how I've been in the NFL recently. So that was nice. You'd count the little wins right now.
You want a seat?
What'd you get a seat in?
On the dual qualifier seed. So not really. It's the King of the Beach, right?
Oh wait, so did you tie for a seat or did you win one?
No, I got one, but you still have to win the.
Oh, so you got a seat to the King of the Beach?
Yeah.
You still got to win
not like a live final seat, but
yeah.
He doesn't have an actual seat yet.
I don't have an actual seat yet. Yeah.
But you won the first step to get into the online tournament.
To get into it, but like Tambo has like 5 and stuff. Like people have.
Tambo's a machine.
I thought he
Tambo is
talk
like
about
the king
my man
of the beach.
Tambo. We could talk about Tambo on this show. That dude is cranking. He's got one more left, and then he's maxed out.
He's
can't
maxed
even
out.
Play it
you guys really turned it up a notch with him. It's getting ridiculous now. I always root for him, but now I'm like, all right, this is getting absurd. Like
the man knows how to. The man is really good at what he does. He knows how to use content better than anyone I've ever met in my life, and he's sharp on top of it. So you put all those things together. The guy's just a winner. Like, love Tambo. The dude literally just wins, whether it's in his sports or sports he doesn't really know much about, that he just uses the content we provide for. So
he used to sit in your seat on this show. He was a Canadian's #1 DFS player. I used to refer to him as.
I refer to him as my favorite Canadian at Toe Shipping Tambo.
Yeah, me and Tambo chat like a lot on the weekends. We usually do a Zoom call Saturday night or like before showdown. So yeah, trying to was maybe the good mojo rubbed off a little bit on your boy Bob. So I was happy for it.
Well, it's not a World Football Fantasy Championship, you know. It wasn't.
That's what I'm saying. Like
that's what it sounded like when at first I was like, oh
yeah. No, I get it.
Well, you say seat, so I didn't know if it was like NBA. I didn't know if it was NFL.
Yeah. No, I know. Everyone kind of. I don't know.
Anything you want to get off your chest, Bobby Bitcoin, or you want to start the show?
No, let's start the show.
All right, we'll start the show.
I do really enjoy Bobby Bitcoin, though. I'm not going to lie. I do really
JSU had some great calls last week. He was talking about his team that he could have taken down stuff if Mixon didn't go off like that. He was all over Justin Fields. I remember that on the show. I didn't care. I just was locked in on Kyler, which again, you know, forget it. You know, he's too short. You know, screw these short guys.
There we go.
I'm on Kyler too on this show last week.
Yeah, I've playing him. He has officially turned me into a short shamer.
I will say though, it is a good thing for people to hear and like understand the fact that I played 0% Mixon. I thought he was the worst play. I will own that. I played 0% Devontae Adams. Those were the 2 highest scorers, I'm pretty sure, at running back and wide receiver position. And what do you guys hear all the time when like a dude goes off? Everyone's like, oh, I'm dead. Flip, like turn it off. Like I got no chance now. Game's over. I don't have Mixon at a 58. Like in certain contests, like in the Millie Maker, that's probably true. You probably have no shot in the mill to win the Millie without Mixon last week. That's probably true. That's fair. But in certain contests, you're still not dead. Like in the 3-entry max that Chris was talking about, Kirkwood. See, Bobby, now you got me calling him Chris before the show. I never call him Chris.
It's fine. It's
mess
fine.
with my head. But in the 3-entry max, 150 sweep, 50K to first, I had a Justin Fields team that did not have Mixon or Adams and came in ninth. And I was pretty much the only one in the top 10 without Mixon and or Adams on a team. And this team still had a live chance. I came 19.5 points short of first place. It had a chance to be first place, though. Like there was opportunity in this lineup to move up and still win without Mixon or Adams. And that just shows you, like, you're never dead. Like, just because one guy goes off, again, in Millie Maker formats, you're probably dead when a dude goes for 50 and he's 10 or more % owned and you don't have him. But in other formats, that's why we encourage people, like, play those 3-entry maxes, play those single entries, because it's just different. Like, you still have a shot.
What an absurd game that was, too. Like, he just didn't stop. It was his
day. Like, that's what it was. It was his day.
It was like the Kamara. It was even better than Kamara. It's just
I feel
nuts.
and
it's always these chalk spots, too. It's like Josh Jacobs chalk, like Mixon chalk, like as long as they're chalk.
The funny part is, he only came in like 12%, I think.
I think he was like 20%. No, wasn't he like 20% in like
I saw him in some tournaments that I were in. So, like, just for instance, the 150 that I was talking about, that 150 300 max suite, he was 13.6%. I think in the Millie, he was like 12. I'm pretty so he could have been different, though, in some of the higher dollar contests.
Because projections loved him. Projections were slamming him. Like
I think he was the
and then all of us were saying he sucks, and we were just let's rerun this. Let's take him out and rerun this. Let's take him out. Anyways, we're here to move on and upwards for week 10. So this is an interesting slate. It's like feels like a real. I don't know, like there's no obvious spots, I guess. Like there's not a ton of pricing is pretty good, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So we got 10 games. We've got no Eagles. We've got no 49ers. We got no Bucks. We got no Seahawks. We got no Chargers. We got no Ravens. We got no Bengals. We got no Jets, but who cares? Anyway, we've got one game with a north of 50-point total, which is the Jags at KC. KC's a large favorite, 9.5-point favorite, 50.5-point total. We've got two other pretty good total games below them. Cleveland at Miami. I mean, Miami has just been a cheat code. You know, their defense has just been horrendous, and their offense just can't be stopped. Miami's 3.5 points. Favorite over Cleveland with a 49.5-point total. Then we've got the Lions again and the newly revamped, playing better Chicago Bears offense. The Bears are -3 points to the Lions at home with a 48.5-point total. Then we've got like anything below that is like 43.5 points or lower of total games. So not a lot of high total spots. Might see concentrated ownership on these three games, but people are gonna. We'll get into the KC talk and all that, but not everyone loves playing a team that's favored by 10 points. There's gonna be a lot of people talking about blowout game script, yada yada yada. But anyway, so first thing I do, look at the Blitz most plays, Jacksonville, KC, Minnesota at Buffalo. So that's the other thing is we're waiting on Josh Allen news. He was seen at practice today for the first time wearing a practice jersey. I don't know how much we can read into that, if he's going to play or not, but if not, it's going to be Keenum. And then they also Cardi has Dallas at Green Bay as a game with a lot of plays. The Thorman Snaps and Pace has the Jacksonville KC game, the Detroit Chicago game, the Minnesota Buffalo game like Cardi has, and then Cleveland Miami. So the thing that sticks out to me is we don't have this like glaring running back chalk anymore. We've got good plays, but we've got most of them are priced up. Or for the most part, like we don't have that really sweet like 6K range. We've got one play in that range, maybe potentially, but not a ton of them. And then the wide receivers, all the stud wide receivers are expensive now. Like Tyreek Hill's 9,100, Cooper Kupp's 9K, DeAndre Hopkins is 8K. Stephon Diggs is 8,300. So, I mean, it's kind of Justin Jefferson, 8,800, Devontae Adams, 8,700. So it's kind of tough to build. I don't see like tons of glaring chalk value, but so it kind of feels like a difficult slate to me is what I'm trying to say. What about to you, JSU? We lost Bobby?
Bobby drop off. Gomes just dropping off the show.
Kid lost so much in Bitcoin because he has. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone. Get
it in before he comes back. Hurry up. Before he comes back.
Bobby, you back? Can you hear us, Bobby?
I can't even see him.
We can't hear you. You got to do something with your mic. You got to unmute it.
You got to show your face too. Where is he?
I'll do it. Oh, okay. So there we go. We back? We're back. Never mind. Well, it's good to see you back, Bobby.
All right. So
what were you guys saying?
We're on running backs. So we're on running backs. I was just about to talk before you were interrupting me, Bob, on the running back talk. So I do agree with you that the 6K range, it's just obviously it's not as loaded. You got one guy that's probably going to project in that range as a really good play. He's probably going to come in at really high ownership, Dameon Pierce.
Yep.
But outside of that, like, there's not as many. The range is definitely lighter. So I think the more obvious running back plays on this slate outside of him, you're going to pay for, right, Kirkwood? Like the Alvin Kamaras, the Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Saquons, ETN. All these guys are going to get ownership, but you got to pay a premium now. They finally priced up ETN to where he should be, like in the 7K range. Same with Kamara. He's in the 7K range now. And then you got Derrick Henry and Saquon, who, I mean, I just think overall they're probably the two best running back plays. But again, you got to pay 8,300 and 8,600 for them. So you got to kind of weigh that on how else you're building your lineups. And then you got Najee, who's not doing anything right now. He's going to get some ownership because he took a price bump down. Jamal Williams is in a better spot, I guess.
So these plays are like, these plays are fringe, right? Like these aren't those field. Jamal Williams, it's like, okay, we got to worry about whether they play Swift, whether they don't play Swift, how much usage does he get? It's not like a smash spot, right? Like then we think about Najee, and then I'm not going to say he sucks like I did Joe Mixon, because then he's going to break the slate and score 50 fantasy points. But I mean, he doesn't make you feel good clicking on Najee this season. I mean, he's done virtually nothing. So there aren't any like good feel good plays. And like, I guess Pierce is a feel good play. He's a great play, and we'll get into that. But he has been a little bit banged up, and you're always could be at the mercy of game script with Houston, but he's been pretty much game script proof though. So I don't know. Yeah, it's tough, right? It's tougher to build, and it's tougher to make your builds with three running backs like we've been used to, right? Because if let's say you jam in like the higher end guys like that we do have, like we have Saquon, we've got Derrick Henry, we've got Alvin Kamara is a little bit pricey, and like ETN is up higher now. If we jam in three of these guys, we're gonna have to like make some real cuts down at wide receiver. So it's going to be interesting, like running back versus wide receiver this week.
Yeah, it's definitely a week where I don't think we need three running back. Like, I don't think you need to make that a rule or anything. I think the last couple of weeks, three running backs has definitely made sense. This week, I don't think you need to, do that as much. I think we're going to need some value from wide receiver. We're going to also see with some of these other guys, but like Zeke's expected to play, I think on Sunday was the word. He's going to try and play. I don't know if you guys saw anything different. I know Aaron Jones came back to practice on Thursday. So DeAndre Swift is still kind of like what's going on with him. He practiced limited on Thursday. And then like Mostert and Wilson came out game one and pretty much like split reps with Mostert. And I think they're doing that because they don't want Raheem to burn out. Like, this guy has always had injury issues, and Jeff Wilson knows the system, right? Because he was with McDaniels when they were in San Francisco. So he knows the system. That's why he came in and played a ton kind of right away. And I don't think that's going to change. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think that's going to change. I think they're going to pretty much kind of split it to try and keep both of them fresh. You know what I mean? Or as fresh as they can be so they don't wear down. Because they do have some miles. Both have had issues with injuries. So that's another spot where, like, one of them would look nice if they were getting 60 or 70% of the work, but they're just not going to get it, I don't think, together.
Yep, I agree. How's this slate looking to you, Bobby?
Yeah, so I think, like, at the running back position, at least, it's going to be like Henry or Saquon. For me, it's Henry. I just think he's the better play. I think that would be your spend up at running back. But like you guys said, like Dameon Pierce, Josh Jacobs, like you get down lower. Josh Jacobs at 7.6. I still think he's a good play, but I think Dameon Pierce is going to be like the guy we've been playing pretty much every week that we're all going to be overweight on. Seems pretty obvious. Najee Harris, 5.5. I don't want to play Najee, but like, I don't know. He's 5.5, depending on where his ownership is. I think that you can make a case. ETN at 7.1 in that Chiefs game, I think, is a really good play. I just like that game in general, and it makes sense for like Mahomes stacks and run backs. But you're getting expensive, right? Like Mahomes, Kelsey, and then ETN. It's going to be hard to fit that, so you're probably playing two of the three.
All right,
yeah, these other guys are like fringe guys, like Ezekiel Elliott and Pollard. Like Green Bay hasn't been great versus the run. You can make a case for them in GVPs, but like I don't know if they'll make my pool because it is a dual backfield and it becomes a situation of I just want as much usage as possible.
Yep. All right, so that goes with the theme that we were saying that it's running backs a little bit tougher in general. May not be a 3 running back week, so to me it comes down to it's like running back versus wide receiver. So we've already talked a bunch about these running backs, but let's go. So basically, Dameon Pierce. Yep, go ahead.
Can I just say one more thing too?
Yep.
So like we obviously saw the thing with Colts fired their head coach, and now Saturday's coming in, and he's going to be the coach. I'll say something right now. Like they're just going to pound the football with the run. Like that's what they're going to do. Like Jonathan Taylor, I still don't want to pay for Jonathan Taylor, but I do think they're just going to try and run the football the whole game against the Raiders. The Raiders struggle against it too. I think Saturday's going to come in and try and just try and really just establish it. And we'll see, obviously, if it works. It hasn't really worked for them this year, but that's guaranteed what's going to happen. So I wouldn't be shocked if like he came out of nowhere and had a decent game. If it looks like he's a full go too, and he's not going to be near owned as some of these other guys. Like you're probably looking at Jonathan Taylor at like 3% at 7,500.
Yeah, and he should be running. He hasn't been good. The offensive line has been terrible, and he's going to be running against a stacked box. But it is the Raiders have not been very good, like you said. Yeah, I can see that.
And they're just not good in general, the Raiders.
Yeah.
Like I thought they were going to be better than they are, which means if you think they're not good, the game's probably going to stay somewhat relatively close, right? In close games, coaches are still very apt to run the football as much as possible, and Saturday is going to do that. Like that's definitely what he's going to do. He's going to give the ball to his best player, and it's not the quarterback right now.
All right, so let's talk about Dameon Pierce. So Pierce, he's at the Giants, who are 24th DVOA versus the run. The only thing, he was dinged up a little bit. He was limited on practice for a day with a chest shoulder.
Did we just lose Bob again?
All right, this kid's a mess. He had a bunch of money on the site that folded on Bitcoin. Is he going to be pissed now? No.
Oh, you just outed him. Poor Bob.
I'm kidding. I made that up, everybody. It was a joke.
Poor Bobby. He's going to be so pissed at you when he re-listens to this thing.
No, I made it up. It was a good joke.
All right, keep going about Dameon Pierce.
So Pierce. Playing the Giants, 24th DVOA versus the run. Great spot. You worry that potential. This game could go a million different ways, right? Like you got to assume it's going to be close because the Giants don't blow anyone out. They're only 5-point favorites. Pierce 18 touches or more in each of his last 6 games since week 3. He's averaged 23 touches, 110 yards. The Giants' second highest yards per carry allowed, 5.5 yards. So this should be a good matchup. He's also 11th in red zone touches. So he's getting work, even though they're not scoring a lot. He's getting the work down there. So, from a usage standpoint, this guy looks like to be the play. 6,300. He gives us a discount. So he's going to be very chalky. So it's interesting how you guys want to handle that. 7,100, Travis Etienne. We've been touting this guy all season here on this show. KC, 20th DVOA versus the run. The last 3 games, he's taken over this backfield. 23 carries plus 4 target average, 135 total yards per game. KC, the interesting thing that I found, that KC allows the most receptions to running backs, the 4th most receiving yards to running backs. So this is a good matchup for his pass catching abilities potentially. So I think he's a really strong play. I was talking to people before and they're like, playing ETN last week was fish at chalk. I'm like, no, it's not. I had a big argument about, the guy's good. He's getting all the work, and he was a great play last week again. But then we have Alvin Kamara at Pitt, 7,400. It's going to be kind of chalky here, at least it looks like. But he's coming off of a terrible game against Baltimore. Pitt has the only one thing that Pitt defense has been good at is stopping the run. They're 11th in DVOA versus the run. He's always struggled in low total games. This is a low total. Let's see here. What is the total on this one?
It's gotta be like 40, right?
It's 40 exactly on the nose. The thing is, he's got a nice target share, 21, north of 21% target share. He's averaging 7.5 targets a game over the last 5 with 60 plus receiving yards. So it's a tough matchup. They allow the 6th fewest rushing yards allowed per game due to the Steelers, but Kamara could be good. So I want it there's pluses and minuses with him. And then there's, the other side of the Houston game is Saquon, right? Saquon versus Houston, who's 32nd DVOA versus the run. This is basically the nut matchup. He's 8,600, which is a little tough to swallow. I'm building on this where we don't have tons of glaring value, especially at the running back position. But Houston's allowed the most running back fantasy points per game. The most they've allowed the most rushing yards on the season. They allowed the 2nd highest yards per carry, 5.5. So, he's been getting 80% of the snaps all season long. So he should be a really strong play here. And then we have guys like Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, and then that low, if we want to try to make one of these lower priced guys fit, if we can get comfortable with him, it would be like Jamal Williams, Najee Harris, like JSU was saying before. Dare I even say David Montgomery? I just want to say I said nothing about Najee Harris being a play. No, you talked about him that potentially you were talking about him.
I talked about the fact that he was going to get ownership.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying we're playing him. I'm saying he's just in that range.
Gotcha.
So that's running back. But so what are your thoughts on those guys and what are you seeing?
So I'll just talk about them real quick. So I think that Dameon Pierce, first of all, is a fish play just anyone who gets ownership that's in a good spot? So it's every fish play, just is that what people think now? Oh, you're a fish. You played Tony Pollard at 60% in the best matchup possible with no Z. You're a fish. What is a fish play? I need to understand. So you're saying all the good plays are just terrible tournament plays? Is that what you're saying? So every single play that has a high projection is just a fish play, or do you just pick and choose? AKA the ones you fade are the fish plays, and the ownership plays that you play, those aren't fish plays. Those are the good plays. How do you determine the fish plays from the? It doesn't make sense to me when there's a bunch of highly owned guys on the slate like last slate and the slate before. How is that?
And a lot of people, they look at it, they're like we're all probably talking about the same person on.
I don't even know who we're talking about. I'm asking. I know people just like this. So
I know who
Kirk's
talking about.
No, but there's people everywhere, especially that are love to talk about this on Twitter. They'll. So if it's a split backfield, but like even though anyone with like knows Aaron Jones is the one who gets the high value touches always, like, and then they'll call him a fish play because he scores a bunch, but like it was like the most obvious play ever. There's people who look at just projection and ownership, and and ceiling projection and versus ownership, and then they do it that way. But there's plenty of ways to skin a cat in DFS. There is some value to knowing teams' tendencies and whatnot.
It's pretty easy to figure out like these guys are good plays. I mean, go look at Moke, look at Oxenduck. Like the best players that are playing NFL DFS currently are playing Pollard chalk. They're playing these other chalk plays, and there's a reason for it, right? Like, they're good plays. Like regardless what the situation is, you play the good plays. I know that sounds redundant and cliche in this industry, but
I talk about this all the time.
You score the most points, isn't that the way?
That's the whole point of the game.
In the end, you have to take stands somewhere. Now, where you choose to take stands is on you. I don't think you should play every single person that's going to be chalk. I disagree with that. Like I couldn't play every 6K running back on that last slate. I would have loved to have every single running back play on that, but I can't play that way. I need to take stands on some people and fade them, even though they might be good plays or whatever. I'm just going to take the in my mind the worst plays of that range and fade them. Obviously, sometimes I'm going to hit right and sometimes I'm going to hit wrong. I didn't play Joe Mixon, so you could say I hit wrong there. That's fine. But my point is that you can't play all the chalk, but you definitely have to flag plant or some of the chalk. Like you definitely have to go over on some of those chalk pieces and those good players that you're probably referring to, Bob. I guarantee you, I don't know, but I would guarantee that those guys went over the field on the good chalk plays that they played.
Yeah, they played every running back that you were supposed to play last week, pretty much. And the week before, same thing.
There you go.
Yeah, and if you look at like Chipotle Addict, like he's playing. People talk about lineup ownership, like in higher stakes. I know it's a little bit different, and comparing him is kind of tough because of how he plays. But his ownership percentage for lineups, like sometimes it's over 200%, and he's shipping. So like playing chalk isn't a bad thing.
No, you just can't play everyone, I think, is the key point behind it. Like, you can't just have pieces of every single person. Even I think in 150, you shouldn't be playing bits of everyone. I know some guys.
I have like a different stance on this, but like.
I know you do, but that's fine.
No, but I think you should be condensed. But like, if you condense around the good plays and how you play them is more different than.
Well, yeah, we always talk about that though. It's more about how you play them. Yes. But I'm just saying, I think that some people are good at just playing everyone and knowing how to do it. I'm not that way. I'm not good doing that. I don't work well spreading everything out with all the good plays. I need to condense everything down and make it smaller. It's easier for me to formulate a plan and lineups based on me condensing down the player pool as opposed to making this massive list of everyone and doing what you said, Bob, where you got to make sure every single lineup you're playing them correctly. You're not playing like all four of these guys together. You're playing like two here and two there and mix and matching and all that.
I get what
stuff.
you're saying. Like you're taking your conviction and you're basically like putting all your chips behind it. And I think that's for a lot of people, that's the way, like with MME, that is the easiest way to play. And if more often than not you're right in your conviction, you're going to be a good player in terms of that kind of game, like just in terms of that game type. So
just make good.
Like Kirk said, like there's so many ways to skin a cat.
Yeah, I had 150 lineups in the Millie Maker with 0 Mixon and 0 Adams, and I didn't lose money. Imagine that.
Yeah, so you had the nuts. You had the nuts outside of, not saying you would have, but you had the nut script basically outside of Mixon and Adams, which is
like I'm saying though, like I didn't lose all my money based off of just two players who were the nut players at their position. I didn't lose like all my money is the point, and I came out breaking even overall without those guys on any of my teams, none of my high dollar teams, nothing. So that just shows you like you can still win doing it this way, and I think it's easier for people that are playing less to take from a condensed pool than it is for them to just hear everyone say, oh, I'm going to be underweight on this guy. I'm going to be overweight on this guy. I'm going to play this guy, but I'm going to play him at the field. I'm going to play this guy at the field. I think that's the worst analysis ever. And you can get that from anyone if you want, because you can hear 100 different guys tell you they're going to play everyone and how they're going to play them. I'm going to play 3% of this guy, 5% of that guy. I'm going to be over on this guy. That's just horrible. There's no takes there. I don't know why anyone.
I think when you take stands
to
and
that.
you do that, it becomes like for me in MLB this year, like I was very condensed, but I was taking stands and also playing chalk. I don't know. It's just a matter of how you do it. Pretty much everyone has a way.
Pretty much take stands and have balls. That's how I play, and I'll always play that way. And I'll be wrong fading people, like always. Like that's gonna happen.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, me too. All right. We went on such a long tangent. I don't even know where the hell we were.
We're on running backs.
We're on running back.
I got X out of the show, and you guys are still talking about running backs. I think we all talked about it like 3 times.
Yeah, but when you came back into the show, we weren't even talking about running backs. We were talking about the overview of the slate, and then you pounded running back. So like,
I didn't pound running. You were going on. Oh, so
Bob dropped off twice, so he only got to talk about running back once, I think, and then I went on a tangent, and then he dropped off again.
So are we getting to quarterback at any time during the show?
Yeah,
all right. And look, I want to throw.
person.
So I want to throw some plays.
All right, I'm going to throw one dude who's not going to be owned out. I think he's finally gotten to a price where we can look to play him now, and that's Kareem Hunt. I think Kareem Hunt has finally dropped down. He's 5,300 now. He was like in the 6K range for a lot of this season, like upper fives. He's still a guy who's getting a good amount of work, and everyone's going to be like Chubb, but he's going to eventually have that game where he gets like the 2 touchdowns over Chubb. And we love Chubb on this show, but 5,300 on a slate where I don't see many good running backs in the 5K range just in general. I think the 5K range for running back outside of him, I don't see one play I like. Maybe Jamal Williams, maybe outside of him. Do you guys see any 5K running backs like in that entire range?
No, I think he's a good play.
I think Najee is the best play in 5K, and I do not want to play him.
The game script could be perfect for Hunt.
That doesn't sell me on Najee when you're like, he's the best play and I don't want to play him.
Because of his price, and I just don't want to play him at 5.5. I just can't. His price is great. He's just awful to watch, and I don't know. I just don't think he has it, and I don't know. 5.5. He grades out as the best play in that range based on the projection, but I don't think.
I mean, you could make the case that the Bills may lean on the running game more with Allen hurt. You could make that case. Maybe Singletary's. Maybe
I would much rather go Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, I mean,
like you hit on. Like,
I can't stand that they're going to split. It drives me nuts that they're going to split, though. I agree with you, though. One of them probably does.
Dude, it's Jamal. If you need a cheap guy, it's Jamal Williams. I mean, he got 24. As long as you just have to hope that they still don't use Swift heavily, which it looks like they won't. But he got 24 carries. You know, he wasn't very efficient, but this is a good spot. And this guy scores touchdowns. So, I mean, it doesn't feel great, but he's certainly in play. I like your call. I think the game script could be perfect for Hunt. Miami's going to put pressure on you all game. You know that with these guys.
That's what I mean. They're going to play from behind against Miami.
Yeah.
And once that happens, it's more Hunt, I think, fits that type of game script. And he's coming in at no ownership on this slate. But I'm going to keep talking. Miami is just a juggernaut. They're going to keep scoring points. They're going to keep putting up points. They'll have an outlier game here or there where they, something happens and they don't. Maybe a quarterback gets hurt. That's fine. But they're going to put points up on some of these bad defenses. And they did it last week. I think they're going to do it again to Cleveland this week. And if that's the case, it just screams to me Kareem Hunt all day in this type of spot, especially if they get down like early too. That's like the nut scenario is like Miami gets up, 17-3 at halftime or 17-7 at halftime, and they just need to kind of go a little faster to keep up with Miami.
I'll tell you one thing. Derrick Henry has been an absolute beast.
Henry's the guy people are going to get up to. Like, he has to be.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they're all good. Derrick Henry, Saquon, those are all good plays. Like, they're both good plays.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna go back to David Montgomery. I know that
I don't actually hate that.
I know people like the Khalil Herbert, but the writing's been on the wall. Like, he had that one game where when Montgomery got injured during the game that he went off on, and he saw 41% of the snaps in week 7. But the last 2 games been 70% of the snaps in each of the games for Montgomery still. Same for Herbert's been at 28%. So this is a great game for them. Great matchup against Detroit, who is just atrocious against everything on defensive end. So Montgomery could certainly fall into the end zone a few times. That's all I'm looking for. He's down around 6K. The price is right. He's hasn't done much in the last 4 weeks, and obviously Justin Fields is running a ton, which is definitely taken away from him. But Fields is going to be Fields is going to be the chalkiest quarterback most likely on the slate this week. So there's a way right there to get a little different, to just build some David Montgomery. And you guys know I'm a Monty truther, so probably the only one around.
Yeah,
but,
you're probably I don't know if you're on an island.
He's
with
not
him.
an
He might
island.
not be
I like
on an
Montgomery too.
I won't be on the island with you guys, but I get what you're saying.
I think Herbert's going to be the guy eventually, but I don't. For Montgomery gets a lot of flack that he likely shouldn't receive.
All right, let's move it on to quarterbacks. Justin Fields, as I mentioned, is going to be the top-owned QB, most likely him or Mahomes. Mahomes is tougher to fit at 7,900. Fields is 6,500. Let's just pull up game log and just look what he's done. So basically, last week he was just the absolute nuts. 178 yards rushing and a touchdown, but he has been rushing more, and we've all witnessed it, right? It started against Washington when he really got going with 88 rushing yards on 12 attempts, 14 attempts the following week against the Patriots, 82 rushing yards and a touchdown. Then followed that up with another 8 and 60 against Dallas with a touchdown. So basically he's had a rushing touchdown in each of his last 3 games. He's 11th in rushing yards in the league, like compared to all running backs. So this guy is like a running back 1 who's playing quarterback. So this is a great game against Detroit. So I get everything about it. Detroit's 26 DVOA versus the pass. They also, I think Claypool makes this offense better. It really frees up Mooney to not just have horrible, just people just draped all over him. And I think we saw that last week when Mooney got a touchdown, I believe. Detroit, 4th most fantasy points per game to QBs. 4th most rushing yards allowed to QBs. That's probably important. Fields has the most fantasy points per game over the last 4 games, right? So he's been ridiculous. He's averaged 12 rushes, 102 rushing yards, 8.5 yards per carry over the last 4. So this guy's been an absolute beast, and I get it. I may try to fade him and play the Montgomery angle, but certainly I won't get mad at anyone for playing Fields. Mahomes against Jacksonville, right? 7,900. Jags are 27th DVOA versus the pass. Mahomes leads the NFL in passing yards plus passing TDs, and he's doing it without really having the successful deep ball this season, right? Like he's definitely hasn't thrown nearly as deep this season. I guess the only concern with him would be game script, right? Right. If Jacksonville, puts up an egg in this one, and then they settle down after getting out to a lead and using their multitude of running backs that they have. I mean, man, I got smoked on I had so much Pacheco on Showdown the other night. Didn't work out so well for your boy. But yeah, so there's that. There's Tua, right? Tua's still a cheat code, right? Like he's the Miami, they're calling the Coors Field of NFL. Any game that Miami's in. So I get that. Cleveland is worse against the run. They're 18th in DVOA versus the pass, 30th versus the run. But, Tua has elite weapons. That's what it all comes down to, is that he's got two of the best yards after catch monsters in NFL. Tyreek Hill is an absolute beast. He's averaging 336 passing yards per game in the games that he's played healthy throughout. He's almost at 25 fantasy points per game in his 5 full starts in those games, which is more than Jalen Hurts, right? And which is crazy to think. So Tua is an absolute monster. Cleveland also struggles with the deep ball, and Tua loves to chuck it to, eventually he's going to hit one of these long passes to Tyreek in stride. Eventually, that's coming. Tyreek's not going to be underthrown every play for the rest of the year, right? Right, JSU?
I don't know. I don't know. Tyreek will still keep making the plays, though. Either way,
yeah,
it doesn't matter that way. So he's good.
The only last guy I have is Trevor Lawrence, 5,400. On the other side of that, if you want to play, he's looked a little bit better recently. KC, 6th most passing yards. They've allowed 17 passing TDs, which is the most in the league. And he's starting to run a little bit more in these last couple of weeks. Has not been perfect by any means, and certainly there's some risk here. But the game script should shape out for him to be able to just pass. And ETN is better in the passing game than a guy like James Robinson, so I don't mind that. But you guys got any more, you guys, that you like, or what are you thinking at quarterback this week, Bobby?
Yeah, you hit on the majority. It's going to be Mahomes. He's been fantastic. In the past, I haven't been a Mahomes truther last year, but this year, I think you have to come around. It's funny, he got better without Tyreek within the last 2 years. He's obviously always been great, but last year to this year, I think he's better without Tyreek, which is insane. Yeah, then Tua and Tyreek are probably going to be a primary stack for me on the slate versus Cleveland. I think that I like the Chubb. I understand why you went with Kareem Hunt, but I wouldn't be like, what if Cleveland gets ahead and then you have an awesome game script for Tua and Tyreek in that situation. So Mahomes, Tua, and then Fields. Fields is tough for me because I didn't play him last week. I feel like I should have played him. Everyone else seemed to have, but I decided not to. So like to go back and play him. It's a tough decision. I was talking about this actually with Tambo. He's like, you can't play him. But I don't know. I might end up playing him because he's the best quarterback playing the slate, right? Like, it's a new week. Just going to have to eat it. And you hit on Lawrence. I also think Jared Goff's in play at 5.5. Like, people are going to be more skeptical to go overweight, and I'm on St. Brown, and I feel like that works in stacks with Goff. And I don't know if you wanted to do Mooney run back or something like that. The other quarterbacks that are grading out well from a ceiling perspective in that range is like Daniel Jones and Derek Carr. Like, Goff's just in a pretty good game environment. I would just take that in terms of like salary saving rather than playing a guy like Derek Carr with no ceiling, or Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has, Derek Carr, Jared Goff has much of a ceiling, but I don't know if those guys are in a game more ownership, then I like to be attached to St. Brown, who I think's in for some positive regression in stacks. That's pretty much it.
What about you, JSU?
Yeah, so just as you guys were talking about quarterback, just made me realize actually how bad quarterback is on this slate and how thin of a position it is. I mean, this is terrible. Like, Justin Fields, I think he's gotten a ton better. I've talked about this for weeks now, where I think the offense is just better. I think that they're doing things with him. They're getting him to run more. They're getting him out, on the move more, putting him in better positions to, be effective. That's definitely clear to me. One thing that I don't love is the fact that, like, Detroit The one reason why I loved Miami and Justin Fields last week, because I trusted that Miami was going to put points up, like score a ton of points, and Fields was going to have to try and move that offense to keep pace. Detroit, they might be able to, but I could also see it being a little more of a sluggish game too. Again, Fields, he's probably still priced for this slate in a good range where he's definitely in play. I think I'll probably have some, but I definitely think Tua is a really good option at 6,700. He's just been like that offense is just so good. And outside of them two, like Mahomes, yes, but he's 7,900. Like I hate paying up that high for like a quarterback. Maybe on this slate, though, it's probably the safest option. I don't know if you guys would agree, but I think Mahomes seems like the just safe option, right? Like, just like he's probably going to get you the low 20s in this spot, which you'll want for sure. I don't know if he'll give you like the massive ceiling performance, but you might just take it and move on depending on the tournaments you're playing. And then like after that, it just gets thin. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is going to get some ownership. He's not been that great. He shits down his leg every time they get close to the goal line. Like Derek Carr, no thank you. Daniel Jones,
it's
Matthew
trash.
Stafford, no. Like
Aaron Rodgers sucks.
Yeah, like no, I don't want to play Kyler, Aaron Rodgers, none of those dudes.
Maybe
Cousins
Dak
in Buffalo, no thank you. Maybe Dak, yeah, maybe Dak. You're right. Maybe the problem is I don't trust Green Bay. That's my issue with Dak. I don't trust Green Bay. I don't think they can move the ball effectively against the Cowboys. That's my struggle with Dak. But Kenny Pickett, New Orleans defense hasn't been good, but Kenny Pickett hasn't been that great. He's 5,100. Maybe I could take a stab with him in like the Millie Maker stuff because I do like George Pickens. And I do like that, like now with Claypool gone, they've kind of thinned that core down a little bit. And it's at home. Kamara is going to be popular. Maybe I could play some Kenny Pickett. You guys know I like some Kenny Pickett. You get Olave maybe on the run back or something like that. Juwan Johnson too. Like maybe Kenny Pickett's like my low-owned quarterback here. You guys know I think Kenny Pickett's going to be good, so maybe I'll go with him as my low-owned guy.
Wow, I just noticed DraftKings stock is up. What a mitzvah. What a day.
They get a slow clap. I mean, it's been a minute and a half since they've been up, right?
They're up? Are you kidding me?
No, today.
They're the only book in the history of books.
No, today, Bob. We're just talking about today. We're easing expectations on the DK stock.
Better ease them a ton.
Yeah, quarterback is rough, right? Like I think Dak, has a low-owned play. I mean, out of all these names, right? Like just in gross spots all across the board, Dak I could see.
Why don't we just play the good plays and play two?
Yeah, I have four: Mahomes, Fields, Tua, Trevor Lawrence.
Okay, but you got to give at least one off the board quarterback.
Yeah, Dak. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying Dak.
I think there's 3 or 4 guys that are probably like just the best quarterback plays, and you could just play them, right? But give like one play that's off the board. I mean, you got to. This is
what if you? I think it's Goff for me. Do you think Swift takes on more of a role this week, or is it still going to be all Jamal Williams? It was all Jamal Williams previous to the Swift injury.
Yeah, I just don't know.
Well, there's the uncertainty. Then I don't know. Play within. I feel like you can make the Goff stack work.
I like Amon-Ra, so
Amon-Ra, Swift, and Goff with a Mooney run back.
Swift is really burned me. I don't think I can do it. More power to you though, if you can.
Oh, I wanted to mention one running back too.
We talked about running back for 25 minutes, and you didn't.
No, it came to me thinking. I was thinking back. So I played Kyler last week, and they couldn't stop the run when it was 100% going to be a run, running out the clock like at the end of the game, and they still couldn't stop it. Right? Like this team cannot stop the run for the life of them. But like I don't know who to play on the Rams, and they've been so bad at running the, and their line has been bad too. Like Henderson got 50% of the snaps, but they're all over the place from snaps. 49% for Henderson, 19% Cam Akers, 28% Malcolm Brown. But like in theory, I kind of want to play Darrell Henderson here, and maybe he gets a couple of touchdowns.
So one thing that scares me is there's quotes about Kyron Williams possibly having a good chance to play. And I don't know if you guys remember week 1, but there was some like whispers about week 1, Kyron being like the guy they were going to lean on. And then I don't know if you remember, but on the kickoff of the first kickoff of the game, he got hurt, and that was just it for him. He never came back. But him being in, if he is activated, I think it muddies it even more there. My concern is he's 4K though.
Yeah. And maybe, and I mean, yeah, then they have 4 backs potentially.
What did did Rivers play at all last game? I don't remember him.
No, he didn't play. He played 0% of the snaps after playing 36% in week 8.
Yeah.
They just don't know what they're doing. This is what scares me about the Rams situation.
They haven't known what they were going to do at running back for.
That's what scared. Like, could you see
as long as
Kyron Williams kid come back and like somehow play like 50% of the snaps? Like first, I could see that happening. Like I literally could see a scenario where that happens. I'm not saying you should play him, but like
embrace the uncertainty again. Once again,
what?
Embrace the uncertainty. Like Kyron Williams.
You could.
All right, you guys are slowing up the show on. You're back to running back again. Let's go on.
No,
keep
Kirkwood,
it moving.
this was your fault. You brought us here. You brought us here, and now I'm uncovering a 4K gem, and you want to move the show along.
I want to take a nap.
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know if he's going to be active though. So
quarterback is rough. I got no one else to say. I'm not touting Daniel Jones. Maybe.
No. You swore yourself off Daniel Jones like
he sucks.
Fuck him.
All right, let's move it on over to wide receiver because there's a lot of good plays over here. I mean,
did you just see this update that the Titans are going to be without Jeffrey Simmons, Bud Dupree, Zach Cunningham, Amani Hooker, Josh Thompson, all out? That's a massive loss to their defense. All those guys.
So, who can we play on Denver? Are we playing Russ?
Denver?
Are we playing Russ?
I'm not playing Russ. Nope.
Mr. Unlimited.
Yeah, no, I can't play Russ either. Is it a running back? I don't think I can play a running back.
Malcolm Gordon? Yeah, it's like
who?
Melvin Gordon? Sorry.
Who's the other? Who's that fossil they keep bringing back around?
Oh, Lat Murray.
Yeah, Lat Murray. Yeah,
they played. They pretty much like split.
Boone.
They pretty much. I think it was a 55-44 split
Murray
between Melvin and Murray last game, but the run to snap share, like the rush share, Murray, outdid Melvin Gordon 50% to 32. So on the rush share. So, I mean, do with that what you will, but now you have to add in Chase Edmonds because they just traded for him.
I think JT is a super interesting.
So we use Judy or let me see the pricing here. I mean, can we use any of these? Can we use Cortland Sutton or Judy?
I don't hate Sutton.
Yeah, why not? Who cares? All right, let's move on to our wide receiver. We're here.
I might play Chase Edmonds. Moving back to running back. I might play him.
Dude.
They just traded for him. He got a week because they were on a bye last week, I think, right?
Yeah.
So he's got a week and, over a week now. So like almost 2 weeks to
I forgot they're the ones who had him.
Yeah, to learn everything.
Oh, man, you might be able to use Edmonds.
You might be able to play. I mean, that's a ton of loss on their D. Bud Dupree, Jeffrey Simmons is their best defensive player, by the way. And he's the one in the middle that just destroys everything. Like, I don't know. Well, yeah. We can go back to wide receiver now.
Thank you.
At the top, Cooper Kupp, 9K versus Arizona, 20th DVOA versus the pass. He's averaging almost 25 points per game. He's tied for second most TDs. He's tied with Tyreek Hill in target share. He's second in targets, second in receptions, all behind Tyreek Hill. Ranked number 1 in Pro Football Focus's matchup advantage that I always look at for wide receivers. He's first in yards after catch. You can't say anything bad about Cooper Kupp. He's a target monster. He is that entire offense. So you got to like him. Is going to be high on Tyreek Hill versus Cleveland, 18th DVOA versus the pass. He finally got a touchdown last week. But, every other metric is ridiculous. First in targets, receptions, receiving yards, air yards. He's third in yards after the catch. He did get 2 red zone targets last week, which he has been limited to all season. He crushes zone defenses, which is what Cleveland plays. He should be able to find spots to get open in. He's an elite play always, especially with the way that this offense and their defense has been set up. Other guys that might be popular, Juju might be a little popular to pair with Mahomes, right? He's really come on as of late. Jacksonville's 27th DVOA versus the pass. He's had 8 targets in 6 of his last 8 games. He's averaged in that span over the last 3 weeks, 7 receptions, 108 receiving yards over the last 3. Has 11 red zone targets, which is nice, 7th in the league ranked, and he's only 6K. So don't mind that. Christian Kirk pairs with Trevor Lawrence and the other side of that game. He's come on, at least, he went through a real down stretch. And then over the last 3 games, he's close to 9 targets per game. He is 7th in red zone targets. KC has allowed the 6th most fantasy points to the slot. So that's somewhere you attack him. So he makes a lot of sense, and coming off of a good game against the Raiders. Then there's Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to get ownership because he's 6,900 and all that targets in that offense. Amari Cooper as a bring back in that Miami game if they're forced to air it out. So there's a bunch of options here. Then there's always DeAndre Hopkins. See him beefing with Kyler on the sidelines.
Good for him.
Yeah,
he's probably calling him a midget.
Yeah.
No, he's probably telling him to get off the friggin' video games and fucking get your head in the game.
Call of Duty came out last week.
Game.
I don't know what we were doing. Kirk.
What do you mean we? I talked for 5 minutes trying to get you
Not
guys
you,
off
me and Kirk.
I won with him. I won with him because it allowed me to get Devontae Adams when everyone else played DJ Moore. So that was all I needed on and he started off hot. He got that immediate touchdown to Hopkins. I was like, "Oh baby, here we go!"
And how did Hopkins do at the end? How was Hopkins' game? He was one of my faves. How was Hopkins' game? He ended with a good 1 for 35.
You were probably scared after that 28-yard touchdown in the first drive.
Wasn't sweating one bit.
I heard otherwise.
For who?
I got my sources.
Yeah.
All right. So what are we thinking? Give me the JSU plays at wide receiver.
If you're playing Tua, you're definitely going to want to play one of Waddle or Tyreek. Let's just be honest. Like, the whole offense is mainly those two guys. It's ridiculous what they're doing right now. One of these guys always seems to be open. Is just how it is. They scheme well, get these guys open. I don't see how you don't like at least playing one of these 2 guys. You don't have to play both, but because they're expensive, but definitely one. I'm probably not going to play Cooper Kupp. I don't know if we got word on Matthew Stafford, like if he's actually going to play or not. But either way, I'm probably going to be off Kupp at 9K. Justin Jefferson, I was on him last week. I probably like Adams more this week with all those guys just for sure out. Like Hunter Renfro's out. Darren Waller's going to continue to be out. And I think they're gonna have to lean on him to move the ball at all. So him and Jacob. So I definitely think Devontae's probably going to be my play there. Steph Diggs. Josh Allen injury worries me. It's probably going to keep his ownership down. If Josh Allen plays and his ownership is low, do you guys know what his ownership is right now? Like what it's kind of looking like it is?
We don't even know if he's playing, so it's like no one's like some of the sites are already like expecting him to be out, but that'll probably change. I think it's looking like more like he's probably going to play now. I don't know. People have like Case Keenum projected already, so I don't think we have any solid ownership on to guide us at least. I mean, we can.
Yeah, I guess like the only way I would play like Diggs or Gabe would be in a game stack, right? Like I think I would probably play them in a game stack. Like if I was playing Keenum, which I'm not saying I'm doing, I'm just saying like that would be the way I would play them is like in a stack because you would at 5K. If one of those guys is getting there, there's probably a likelihood that Keenum has a decent day at 5K. So that's how I would play that out. The rest of that top range, I'm probably going to stay off D-Hop. I'm going to stay. Is there anyone else? I like Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm definitely going to be on him. Amari Cooper, I'm definitely going to be on. Anyone else in this range? Christian Kirk, I don't mind. You guys talked about him. Yeah, I think that's everyone I'm looking at, right? And Olave definitely is someone. If I play Pickett, I would run it back with Olave probably.
What about you, Bobby?
Tyreek is my favorite play at the wide receiver position. He's just very good. He's very fast. It's a pretty easy breakdown. I think Tua does eventually hit him in stride, so I like Tyreek this week. Cooper Kupp's interesting because he's at 9K, and I think a lot of the build is going to be paying up to like one of those, like a Henry or a Saquon, and maybe a double spend up at wide receiver is like differentiating the construction enough. But then you have to find a 5K running back or a 5K wide receiver that you'd want to play in the flex. So I'm iffy on whether I'll have Cooper Kupp or not. I'm on St. Brown at 6'9". I've been playing him. I'm pot committed for the last 3 weeks, so playing him again. I think it's a good game environment. I think he makes sense. He's going to be everyone's run back, but I'll probably be overweight again, and he'll probably burn me. Jalen Waddle.
You can't run it that way. Come on, you're putting bad mojo on our guy. I mean, he's
due, so he'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he's gonna crush.
I was being facetious.
You're putting bad mojo out there. He's bitter today, everybody. He's came in. I don't want to say where, but he's come in with his head not on right. You know,
this isn't true. I'm having a good day.
Bobby, you've dropped off the show 4 times already.
Well, you're having a better day than yesterday, right?
Yeah, better day than yesterday.
Yeah, that's all you can ask for.
No, I'm having a good day. It wasn't even yesterday. Is not even a thing. It's nothing.
It's old news.
Christian Kirk, I think he's fine, 5'9". Jalen Waddle, you're playing him just like JSU and Kirk both said. It's super condensed. You just play the Miami receivers with Tua. Very easy. We know where the ball's going. Christian Kirk, 5'9". In that game environment, I just like that game. KC, Jacksonville, it's at KC. They're going to be playing from behind. Very easy play. Brandon Cooks down at 5'3". I just have not gotten Brandon Cooks right all year, and it feels like last year we were going out of our way to play Brandon Cooks. I think you can make a case to play Brandon Cooks this week versus the Giants. I think he has a better ceiling in that like 5K wide receiver range than the majority. Maybe you can make a case for Deontay at 5'8". Where the Deontay game's coming eventually. New Orleans hasn't been able to like stop anyone in the passing game, so maybe it is Deontay week. Yeah, and with all those guys out at 5'6", the wide receiver between 5 and 6K, I don't actually hate. Yeah, that would pretty much do it for me. Maybe Olave at 6'8". I know that's getting out of the 5K range, but those are like the main guys. And then like Matt Collins down low seems like the cash game guy that everyone's going to go to at 4-2. Interesting. Marquez Valdez-Scantling right near Matt Collins at 4-1. Mahomes hasn't been going as deep, but we know he can, right? So he would be someone I definitely have in my player pool.
With some holes in the defense of Tennessee, as JSU alerted us to, why not play the guy who can rip off an 80-yard TD to the house, Jerry Jeudy?
I thought you were going to say Lat Murray.
I like Judy if I had to pick one of them, I think. But
yeah, you can only play one, I feel like, right?
definitely only play one. Unless you're
Any
playing
Wandale
Russ.
love? Wandale's down at
unless you're
4.7.
playing Russ.
JSU, you're the Wandale whisperer.
I mean,
Dude,
Wandale.
that guy screwed me the other week.
He screwed me
I
too.
know.
The balls
Yeah,
of Bobby to bring up Wandale again on this show.
I'll say this: like, if you're fading Saquon, I think Wandale is a good play from that standpoint. Like, you're kind of root for maybe him to crush and Saquon to kind of come under, not have the dominant performance, maybe. So yeah, he's in play. He fits the builds too, right, Bob? Where like I think a lot of people are going to spend up for 2 running backs.
I feel like Slayton is the guy, though.
I just think it's going to land people in this range, though. Like Bob was saying, like, oh, the 5 to 6K range for wide receiver, there's a good amount of like plays in here. I think he's right. And I think like people are going to play a couple of those guys, and then they're going to come down to this 4K range and pick one or two to kind of finish out their team. So Matt Collins was one you talked about. Like I think Wandale's in the conversation. Maybe Claypool, since Fields is one of the more popular quarterbacks. Maybe people go to him.
You like Pickens, so you like Pickett. So would Pickens make the Pickens?
Pickens definitely makes definitely makes the board for me. I mean, you're getting him at 5K against New Orleans, who has struggled to stop a lot of teams recently. Like, just look at. Hold on. So, like, just a reminder, because I kind of forget. I know they played Baltimore, and Baltimore didn't like crush them from like a passing standpoint. But let's remember, Baltimore was down how many like weapons from an offensive standpoint. They obviously crushed Las Vegas, but Arizona shootout, Seattle shootout, Minnesota 25-28 game. Like before that, their defense was giving up a ton of points. Like I don't know. I think Pittsburgh at home makes a little sense to me.
I'm in agreement. Kirky, how about you?
With what? He doesn't
even listen. Oh God.
Well,
get us to the defensive segment. I mean, geez, this show.
We have tight ends to do first.
We're on to tight ends.
Tight ends, dude.
What I'm saying is Darius. I think Darius Slayton is still the Giants guy. I think he's just the one that. And Wandale tried to make him work, but the reality is the guy is tiny, And I'm done playing these short guys. Kyler turned me into a short shamer, so I can't play Wandale. So I'll go with Slayton. But all right, tight ends. Who do we got this week? Kelsey's it's the pay up at Kelsey in a game where maybe they don't need him a ton, but if it does break right, I mean, he's obviously the number one guy. There's Foster Moreau, Darren Waller officially on the IR now, 3,200. There's Stonehands Higbee. There's Greg
Dulcich.
Yeah, he's going to be chalked though. Like I don't like that. Like
I can see like the cash game guys totally stroking it for Dulcich this week.
Stroking it, yeah. Freiermuth. I mean, this is rough. Dalton Schultz, I kind of like.
We'll get through it, Kirk. We'll be all right. It is rough. We'll be good though.
Ingram. I don't know. I actually, you know what? I'm so mad at myself for not playing Cole Kmet. I was gonna play Cole Kmet, and I liked him, and I got talked off him. No.
Who talked you off? Name some names.
No names. I'm not one to name names. I have to click that button at the end of the day, so it's on me.
That's good. Yeah. You've learned your lesson. There you
go. Hand up. It's on me. I don't know. Tell me. I don't care who I play at tight end this week. Who are you guys playing?
Definitely Kelsey. Like I don't know how you're not playing Kelsey. Foster Moreau. It's another week of just like awful tight ends. I'll definitely play some Gesicki in my Tua stacks. Dulcich is the chalk tight end. Tennessee, like if I want to play one of these, it scares me that like Russ might come into the conversation for me by Sunday. Tanyan 3-7, like he's seeing a good target share in that offense. They just don't throw the ball enough. They may have to. With that being the case, maybe he's an interesting run back. Freiermuth, if you like Pickett, I think at 4-2, he's fine. Outside of that, I don't really have too much. Harrison Bryant, if we get Njoku, I actually think Njoku, if he plays, is a very good play. But if he sits, like Harrison Bryant at 2-7, people are going to go there. JSU, you have any thoughts?
Njoku's been ruled out.
He's been ruled out? Okay.
Yeah.
So people are going to Bryant.
Well, let me tell you, I went to Bryant on that showdown slate, and that did not work out very well.
Yeah, I was on. I forget what showdown slate it was. My brother was like, "Oh, you have to play Harrison Bryant tonight." I'm like, "There's no fucking way I'm playing Harrison Bryant." And then I played Njoku, and Njoku crushed, and Harrison Bryant was absolutely like awful. So worked out that night.
Yeah, Harrison Bryant's playing. He played 73% of the snaps and pretty much zeroed out. I'm pretty sure. I don't even think he got a target that game. I do think you should. I do think you should probably go back to him at 2,700. Like,
you think so?
It's just too cheap. I think
he's gonna be He's gonna be the chalk tight end. I don't mind.
No, he won't. Dulcich will be.
Yeah, I don't mind playing. I'm not against playing the chalk. I used to be against playing the chalk tight end. I'm just like, whatever.
I think no matter, like, I definitely want to pay down. I mean, you could play Kelsey. He's pretty much a wide receiver. You can play him, but I'm probably just going to pay down. You can, if you're playing Fields, you definitely should just keep Kmet in the pool. But yeah, I mean, Juwan Johnson at 3K, I think is definitely in play. James Mitchell, I could go right back to James Mitchell again. I played a bunch of him last week. He's still 2,700. I could play. I think his role is going to get better too.
He caught a TD too, right? Last week.
Yeah, he caught a TD. Yeah. Didn't do much else, but he caught a TD. So short TD. But honestly, on that slate if you told me my tight end was getting me 8, I was pretty much happy at that cheap price tag because not many tight ends really crushed. So you didn't really. I saw actually winning lineups in some of the tournaments, and their tight end got them 0. So. Like it was just a cheap tight end, and they got him 0, and they still won because they had the other right pieces. But like that's how bad tight end is my point. Like tight end, you're just looking for someone to get you some production, unless you're playing Kelsey, which maybe that is just to play Kelsey. I don't know.
How do we fit? We play him over these good wide receivers.
You can fit it. You can definitely fit it. It's super thin, but. Like I've been running some stuff, and like you get Mahomes and I'm seeing Mahomes and Kelsey builds, and it's
probably Kelsey just a mistake to not play any Kelsey, right? Like he's legit a wide receiver 1, and when all these tight ends go for like 8 or less, and he goes for like 30, you're just like your builds have got to be just so much better, right?
The issue is you're going to have a tough time getting to ETN in the Kelsey builds as run back. So the majority, like Mahomes,
but you can get the Christian Kirk,
are going to be Kirk. Yeah, exactly. So you're going to lose ETN a little bit.
Or maybe you just do I don't know. Yeah, you're right.
Or you're going to have to play double tight end.
Or you don't run it back and just hope they win 38-0.
Double tight end's fine if it's Kelsey as one of your tight ends, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So you're making him a receiver. You're choosing to pay him.
Yeah, you're pretty much saying I'm going to play Kelsey over Hopkins or Waddle or Diggs, like those type of guys. You know what I mean? Which I don't know. Would you put him right up with those guys?
I think he's up there. I just don't.
Just worrisome the game script. Like it depends how Jacksonville plays this game. Evan Ingram, though.
I think he can definitely beat Hopkins and Waddle. My worry is like not playing Tyreek.
All right.
Yeah.
Good job, guys. Let's take it on over to defense. Bobby Gomes, defensive segment.
So last week we can't victory
go back
lap.
and play Tyreek and Travis Kelce, Bob. That's what you got to do. Go back to the old days.
Yeah.
Not on KC, but you just play them both and just figure it out from there.
I don't mind that. Doesn't look bad in my stuff. So last week we were not good on the Panthers D. Someone called the Jets D, and then me and Kirky called Jets D on the.
I was always on Jets D. I think I called the Jets D.
Yeah, so maybe you called the Jets D, but
because I was like anti Josh Allen.
I think you called it. I didn't like it, but you called it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
was how it went.
Yeah,
I didn't play the Jets D.
Credit to me.
I played the Patriots.
Yeah,
Screw
that was
the Jets D. Give me the Patriots. Get that leverage over that chalk Deion Jackson on FanDuel.
He got hurt though too. He was doing terribly, but
doesn't matter. They were still just getting pounded.
Yeah, he was doing terribly, but he, the part of the thesis was garbage time, but
yeah, I mean,
we don't know. We don't know how it would have turned out. But Bobby, take it away, pal.
So for me, it's dependent on the Josh Allen news, but the Vikings D at 2,200. That's my defense. That's the play.
All right, I'm gonna.
Who is it, Bob? I didn't hear you.
It's dependent on the Allen news, but Vikings D, if Allen sits at 2,200, that's my kid screaming, confirming it's a good play.
All right, we got the kids. We got little Bob screaming.
Maybe he's screaming not to play
it. Maybe he's screaming not to play it. Kirky, you got your defensive play?
I'll just look at ETR and look where the D-line mismatches are, and it would be New Orleans, the Giants, or the Bills. Let's see here. Let's see if I can pull one out. Arizona I can't keep going back to them. They do put pressure on, and Stafford is bad with pressure, so that's potential. What's the Giants D? 3,900. No, thank you.
3,900 for the Giants defense? Holy
crazy, right?
Crap.
Inflation.
Whew, you ain't kidding.
Yeah, that's expensive.
How about Steelers D, 2,800 against the chalky Kamara?
I like it. Good against the run. Dalton's due for at least one pick.
I like the Cardinals D at 2,700. Either way, I think whoever plays at quarterback doesn't really matter. The O-line's bad. Offense has been bad. I think Cardinals D, I don't think they're terrible either, honestly. I think they're fine. So I think 2,700 for them is decent. And, I don't mind the Pittsburgh call either. Bobby gave Minnesota. You obviously got to wait and see on the Minnesota play, but 2,200, I could see it.
So those are the defenses. We have top stacks now, Kirk.
Favorite
I'm gonna
stacks.
give one more. I think the Chiefs defense is a good play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top stacks. Take it away, fellas. Large field, single entry.
JSU, you go first.
Why do you always need me to go first?
Because you just go first.
I'll give the winner. Screw Bobby. So the winner this week, it's gonna be the Tua stack, and you're bringing it back with Kareem Hunt and Amari Cooper. That's going to be the winner this week. It's going to be Kareem Hunt, Amari Cooper. Pick your favorite Miami stud receiver. Put it in the lineup with Tua. Collect that money. I'm going to build one right now, just so I don't forget.
I like Tua. Did you? Oh, you said the Kareem Hunt? You sold me on that already.
Yeah. No, I said build it with Kareem Hunt and Amari Cooper as the run backs, and play one of the top, Miami, at least one of the top Miami receivers. and then just pay for a cheap defense. We gave you a few cheap defenses to pay for. If you put a cheap D in there, that leaves you with like $5K per spot, pretty much for that type of build.
All right, I'm going back to Trevor Lawrence. Give me the other side of this Chiefs game with I'll play him with the running back with Etienne, and I'll play him with Christian Kirk or even Zay Jones, and maybe I can make Kelsey fit, but if not, Juju is fine. I mean, I don't really love anything, to be honest with you. So, Bobby, take it away with your.
Actually, can I amend mine real quick? Because I just realized something. You can play Harrison Bryant over Cooper just to fill that cheap tight end spot, and then you can play one or both of the stud Miami receivers and still have plenty of money to build that out. That's the way.
You play them both.
That's the way right there. And you still have 5.3 if you play them both for your other 3 spots.
Yeah, so I'm on the same stack, Tua, Tyreek. I like Chubb, and I think you can get Harrison Bryant at 2.7 to make Chubb work. So that's my thought process.
I mean, you shouldn't be allowed to give the same stack, but then change
up.
It
is this. It's you like Hunt, and I like Chubb. If the Browns get a lead,
Bobby is crazy. He steals content from his own show.
From his own show. And he goes against his boys on the show. You at least think.
I didn't go against. I'm with you guys on the Miami stack. I'm just not.
You went against.
I know Kirky went with.
All right, here's the last segment of the night. We've got a great UFC card. Saturday. Finally, we haven't had a good. These last ones have been just like, I didn't really like anyone. Gave out a couple of plays here. Got robbed by a freaking decision, which was horrible. But there's going to be some really strong.
We don't cry. We come back and give winners.
Yeah, we're dropping the hammer. This. What I'm saying is that this is the card. This is the card to get to fire. First off, we love Ottman Azlatar. But he's gotten steamed. The price was really good earlier in the week, and now it's up to like minus 150. But we like him over Matt Steamroller Frivola. We also like Carlos Ulberg out of the same camp as Adesanya. I'm going to be big on Adesanya. I think he wins a decision or maybe even puts him out. And I like too much chalk. I like Dan Hooker too a lot. And I love big plays going on Renato Moicano. That's where I'm at as of right now, and those are all favorites, which stinks. But like, I like
they're the right plays. They're the right plays.
Yeah, I like every single one of them. Trying to see if I can even find a dog that I like. I don't know if hit me up on Twitter the day of on Saturday, and I'll reply with what I'm doing. But we got some really strong plays, though. Moicano is a strong play. Dan Hooker is a strong play. Adesanya is a massive play. And Ulberg is a decent play. And Azlatar is a really strong play.
My kid was going crazy for those plays, if you guys could hear that. So.
I couldn't hear it. Man, Dan Hooker hurt my feelings bad last time he fought. I can't
remember. Yeah, but so he went down in weight, and he depleted himself, and he was on a short, didn't put a full camp in. He's fighting a guy. You know who Jordan Levitt is?
Yeah.
The spider monkey. The guy he's fighting was a dog against Jordan Levitt, and now he's got to fight.
Yeah.
He's got to fight. Yeah. Now he's got to fight Dan Hooker, who is actually skilled. Maybe he's on the decline, but with a full camp training with Adesanya for Adesanya's big fight, like this is going to be the best we're going to see we should see of Dan Hooker.
Okay, who do you have? You didn't talk about the main event. Who do you at least give us? Who you have?
Izzy. I said massive play on Izzy. Massive play.
You really massive play, huh?
Yep. I know Big T is going to play. I know. I already know.
I don't know who Big T is going to play.
I guarantee you.
I'm on the other guy. I know.
Yeah, Big T's going to be too. I guarantee you he's going to be. So
for DFS though, it's different, right? Too.
Yeah. For DFS, it's different. But I'm just talking betting. I mean, if you rewatch the fights where he actually got knocked out, whatever, he was winning that fight till he got caught. He should have won the first fight. I think it was a bad decision. And this guy's Izzy's been the top of the MMA game for forever. They just gave Pereira the fast track. He's huge, but he barely made weight. He had to really struggle to make weight. I just think this is UFC now. This is a different game. And Izzy's going to have all the tactics if he wants to make this a boring decision, he can. I think the ball's on his, like, he's going to have to lose this one. I think like it's going to have to be on him to lose, but we'll see.
We will see. I like it. We'll see.
All right. We're done.
We're done. We're done.
I
want to know who said that JSU does this show not sober all the time. I'm always sober.
Who said that?
Who
said that in the comments?
Someone said that. I was
Someone
like,
said
is
that.
JSU
I don't know who it was.
sober for these shows? I'm like, wait, I'm literally always sober. I was drunk.
I responded no.
Bob. You're always flaming the fire here, Bob. You're always putting a little gasoline.
This is okay. So this has been the RG DFS Tourney Takes podcast for week 10 for Johnny AirPods JSU, for Bitcoin Bobby at Bobby Gomes DFS, and for me, Kirk Dees. We will catch you again next week. Thank you.